Hey friends, welcome back to the Anita podcast. I'm your host, Anita, and today's episode is so much fun. Just a quick heads up though, this episode contains adult themes and some pretty fun language, probably not one for the kids. My guest today is Josh Partington, the Melbourne-based content creator who makes Australians feel deeply seen, wildly nostalgic, and absolutely certain they all grew up in the same house. He started posting in August 2024, and within months, he had over 100,000 followers. His comedy is sharp, specific, and so Australian it hurts. And the reason it works is because Josh has a really particular view of the world. I asked the all-important questions: how he became a creator, who his biggest influences are, and I asked him the one question everybody is dying to know. Is he actually a school teacher? So sit back, relax, and enjoy Josh Partington. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're supposed to be young. How old are you? Aren't you supposed to be technologically advanced?
Yeah, well, I'm like in the middle, so I'm like between a millennial and a Gen Z. So I'm the last year of millennial.
Oh, so you're like a
Yeah,
you're a young millennial.
I'm the crossover. So 1996 is like the last year of millennials.
So wait, did you turn 30 this year? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
When's your
yeah.
birthday?
25th of January.
Oh, so you're like, and so were
Yeah.
you 18 at high school or no?
No, 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 no. I was 17 and I always had to grab my mate's IDs to go out to town.
Out to town. We may as well just get started. Hi, by the way, I'm Anita. It's really lovely to meet you. I saw that you saw me stalking your Instagram last night. I was like, oh, I better just like go and have like a full stalk. And I was wetting
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, there's just all sorts of content on there.
I feel like I know you now. I feel like I'm like talking to you like we're best friends because I was like so deep in it.
That's how basically the whole of Australia feels about my content. They feel like
Seriously?
they've lived like my life. But that's how we view the content. Everyone just lives the same lives. Me posting this content, it's gonna kind of reflect and it's gonna like transpond to everyone else. That's kind of why I do it.
So fun. It is the most relatable content I have ever seen. Like, you remind me, and look, I trolled your comment section as well. Not trolled your comment section, trolled your comment section. I trolled you. I trolled your comment section, and everybody is just like, this is relatable.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote something that I completely agree with. You are like Chris Lilly. You have a really particular view of the world like he did. And it is this way of making people, I guess, like we watch it and we go, holy shit, like that's what we had. So how would you describe your content to somebody who has never seen it or who has discovered it for the first time?
Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, my content is nostalgic-based comedy content based around Australian, I guess, households growing up. It's my whole content, and I'm just sharing a little piece of that memory with everyone and being able to share that experience. And not only that, it becomes that relatable moment to everyone, and everyone's familiar with like what you grew up with, and that's how they had their experience growing up, and that's kind of what I want to share with the world. So that's my content in a nutshell for someone who's never seen me before.
Do you not find it really funny that everyone had the same upbringing?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to think because like a lot of the times you post and you go, oh, will this be relatable? Like, will people relate to this? And they do. They go, everyone always comments like, do we just share the same experiences? Like, do we just have the same childhood? And that's just what it must be like. I don't like to get too deep with things, but sometimes I think about life like, the chances of us like talking to each other now like is like so slim. So why couldn't we just share the same experience growing up? It's like it would be pretty common, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a bilingual household. Like I wasn't bilingual, but my abuela, they were immigrants from the Philippines with a Spanish background. And I still had the same upbringing as you. Like I still
Yeah.
had the same things that happened. And I find that so interesting. There's also videos that I've seen on the internet. I saw this thing the other day. I don't know if you ever did this, but like when you're in the bar or when you've got a tap running and you do this to like the water, like there are
Yeah,
people
yeah,
and like
yeah,
trying to catch it. Like,
yeah.
why the hell?
And how like I don't know, I don't know if anyone else has done this, but when you like cup the water, like you cross your arms and then you fill like your arms up with water.
Why did we do that?
And then I
Why?
used to also, well, I still do this now and then. I cup my hands over my ears and then like go like that. It's like this like waterfall jet engine sound. I want to create a video, but I don't really know how to film that.
It's so funny. You should just do it. And everyone will
Yeah,
be like knowing
yeah,
exactly what you mean. I just think
yeah,
like that is so funny. And even like pushing on, those pens that we used to have, because you were 96, like you
yeah,
still grew up in the 90s.
yeah,
So you had that you were little. Like let's be
yeah.
real. You weren't like I was
Well,
in your 90s.
I have a older sister, so she's 92, and I probably shared some experiences of her 90s growing up. So I wasn't just
Ah.
alone in the 90s world. So that's probably what helped me a lot.
So you grew up in Adelaide. As a child growing up in Adelaide, what were you like?
Shy. I was super shy. Yeah, you wouldn't think it. Like people watch my content and they think, oh, he was the class clown. He must have been so loud at school, a bit of a rebel. I was the complete opposite. Never put my hand up at school. I was just so timid and shy. Even playing sports, I just didn't get in and under when playing football and stuff. So I was always kind of just standing on the outside, and I always, I guess, got involved in the wrong kind of crowds growing up as well, like friends that were a bit naughty, and I just kind of like tagged along. I was never a ringleader. Yeah, I was just kind of like that background character.
You were
So
like a follower.
yeah, a follower. Yeah,
And that's so interesting that you use the term background character.
yeah,
You
yeah.
really thought of yourself as that?
No, I never took the lead in anything. If it was, oh, we should do this, I was like, yeah, okay. And I just always agreed. Like I never really stood up for myself and had a voice, I guess.
Did you always get caught? Like if your friends were doing naughty things and you were
Yeah,
following along, you always
yeah,
got caught.
yeah. And I was probably the one that got in trouble. The ones who actually do the things wrong are the ones who never get in trouble, but it's the ones who just get caught out are the ones who, pay the consequences,
Wait,
unfortunately.
what did you do?
Oh, just naughty stuff. Like you used to ding dong dash a lot of houses growing up. Like that's when you ran up to the doorbell and then just ran
I know what
away.
that.
And I was always the one who got caught. It was just one of those things that happens. But growing up, that's, I guess, just what we did as kids.
That is another thing that children in that everybody knows. Ding dong dash. Do you know what really is crazy to me though? Like, how does everybody know these things when we didn't have technology the way that we do now? That's
Yeah,
what really fascinates
yeah,
me.
yeah, and that's the most amazing thing is when I started out doing my content, I thought the people that would relate to it the most would be people that are my age or around similar age. But it's the generation above and way below that is the majority of my audience, which is just I still don't understand to this day how that is, but I'm just rolling with it.
Well, one thing that I found really interesting looking at your amazing slideshow that your publicity team have put together for your management team, 68% of your followers are female.
Yeah, yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I still question it. I'm not in charge of the algorithms, but I think what really plays a part is me playing the mum character a lot in a lot of my videos. I don't know what it is. When I play the dad, no one gets around it. No one like really likes my dad character. But when I play the mum, everyone's like, oh yeah, like my mum did this and my mum did that. And I think in Australian households, a lot of the memories are related back to mothers, especially with cooking, like if she got out like the slow cooker on a Sunday night, then every mum can relate to that. So when I post something about that, it's going to be the mums that come to the party. So that's where probably the 68% audience is made up of. It would probably be of that older generation of mums. So, like, I don't think a lot of males would enjoy my content as much.
Do you know what I think it is now that you've just said it? And look, I could be completely wrong, but you just kind of touched on a point there. Back in our parents' like when we were growing up, when I was growing up, dads weren't really around. They went to work more than the
Yeah,
mums
yeah,
did.
yeah,
So that's why they're kind of like the last generation of those very traditional rules of
yeah,
growing. If you grew up with a mum and a dad, the dad was off at work and the mum was at home doing all of the housekeeping.
yeah, yeah. So both my parents are boomers. They're of that boomer generation. So it's a pretty cool flex to say that.
It's pretty
But
awesome, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But that's what it was like. Dad worked the 9 to 5. Mum still worked it. Well, she still does work, but she worked a couple of days a week. But she was, yeah, mainly, making sure we got home from school, doing the cooking, the cleaning, all of that sort of stuff. And that's what it was back in the day. It just was that was Australian households growing up. And I guess that's how I have so much experience, like of those moments growing up that I can share with everyone.
So is it safe to say that the origin story of it's Jill and is it Maureen that everyone keeps asking for? Or Marianne? Who do they keep asking for? I wish I wrote it down now. They were like, bring back. Oh no, I'm thinking of the teachers. Scrap that.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
okay. Who? Because Jill's the guidance counselor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many characters. I can't even remember all of them. But yeah, I started this series. I call it the Lockie series, and it was a series that just kind of stumbled into its own. It was never meant to be a series, but it was the wellbeing coordinator, and I guess a lot of kids share that experience. I didn't think it was so universal, but it was. And yeah, the character I played as the wellbeing coordinator was Jill. But I renewed season 2, and the new wellbeing coordinator that's coming is called Maureen, and no one likes Maureen. They just and as a result, like I don't think the content's doing as well, performing as well because of this Maureen character. So I have to do something about her, quick smart. Yeah,
So interesting. I do, please, we cannot forget to talk about the origin story of your mum because I know we're going all over the
yeah,
place, but
of
I do
course.
want to know, that's really interesting. So if you see something that doesn't work, do you then go, you scrap it? Are you really after the engagement or are you after, okay, I just want to post this because I think it's really funny?
Yeah, look, I do it for the enjoyment. That's what I've always posted my content for. It's never been for the likes. That's just kind of a bonus. But like there's times when it gets hard, when things don't work, you question everything. But when things do work, you're running on this euphoric, like a euphoria feeling really for a lot, it could be a short burst or a few weeks. But as you said, when things don't quite work, you kind of have to go back to the drawing board and think of, well, what did I do here that made my content do so well? And you kind of tinker with that and try and implement that into the next video. But sometimes it still doesn't work. Sometimes it's just what the algorithm does. So the video I posted last night, I thought this is ingenious. It was a video about because did you get your pen license going to
Oh,
school?
I thought that was amazing. I actually
Yeah,
loved it because
yeah,
I did get my pen license and I was
yeah.
one of the first. So
Yeah. But that's the thing is that, I could have just done a video saying, oh, here's your pen license. And it goes, oh, wow, like pen license. But I wanted to create that feeling of what it felt like. And that's what it felt like. Like you're up on stage, you were the center of attention. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of take it into a different direction. And that's when you touched on earlier about Chris Lilly. He was one of my main inspirations when I started my content. I grew up with these shows, We Can Be Heroes, Summer Heights High, all those Jamae characters that he did. And that was my main inspiration. But that's kind of where I see my content going. There's like, I don't want to be that, oh yeah, I find that relatable, but I want it to make that moment that's specifically relatable really, like it's all about the small things in my content that I add that become big things. So
I think for me with your content, the reason it makes me smile and it's so enjoyable, and I said that I scrolled and just kept watching and watching, like full stalking you, is because you are taken back to a time that was so much more it was just so different to what we're experiencing now, and particularly as adults. Like, you don't have, God, imagine the best thing in your world right now was getting a pen license. Like, imagine that was the best
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like it's so simple yet so symbolic of your childhood. And I just feel like as adults, we don't have that stuff anymore. We don't have those little things that just bring us so much joy. It's about, okay, are you married? Do you have the house? Do you have the
Yeah.
dog? Do you have the kids? Do you have the money? Do you have the car? And I think that when we're little, getting the pen license, oh my God, that was everything.
Yeah. Life was so simple in the late 90s, 2000s, and people still go back to that era. It's the best era. But people talk about the 90s and 2000s like it was the best decades, and it was. I think it was just such simpler times. Technology was emerging, but it was still in its infancy. And that's kind of, I guess, that helped our generation. We could focus on the little things like pen license, and we weren't distracted by, YouTube and TikTok and Snapchat, all these different, head noises around, and we could really focus on those other things. And that's, I guess, what really shines in my content is I kind of bring back those memories for everyone.
Do you think, like, because we didn't have AI, I have a stepdaughter who's 16 and a 13-year-old stepson, and it really blows my mind, the use of AI. They're constantly on their phones. YouTube is such a big thing. The TikTok ban, the social media ban has been a big problem in our household because the
Mm.
13-year-old just won't get off it. And do you think, let's talk about that ban. Did you find that you lost a lot of, because I only noticed you lost about 1,500, is that right?
Yeah, yep. So during that period, it kind of happened overnight. So on Instagram, it was around 2,000 followers overnight. And to be honest, when I first heard about the news, I was quite petrified because a lot of my TikTok audience, I would say majority, is made up of, kids, teenagers that are still at school. And I thought, well, they're going to be part of this ban. And
Mm.
I thought I was going to lose that. But for some reason, it was weird because when the ban happened on TikTok, I lost no followers. So I don't know what happened on TikTok, but yeah, on Instagram, I was impacted quite, I guess not severely, but yeah,
Do
to
you
a
know how
degree.
easy it is for kids to put
Yeah.
new profiles on TikTok?
Well, it must be easy because yeah, I didn't lose anyone.
That
Yeah.
is so scary.
Yeah.
I think that this ban, and I'm really passionate about it at the moment,
Yep.
just after an incident, and I'm so passionate about it. And I think that the generation below these kids that are already in high school, I think that they're the ones who are going to feel the impact more and
Yeah.
actually won't even know what social media is until they're 16 years old. I think that if their parents do it in the way, and the thing is that we have noticed as well in this situation is that it's up to the parents as well. And I said to my partner this morning, we need to be more educated. I feel like there should be education available through the government for everybody to be able to go and find out what the effects of social media are, because I can say this happened or this happened. When I was a kid, when I was 12 years old, so remember I'm 40, when I was 12 years
Hmm.
old, I gave a man on, I think it was like ICQ or MSN. I can't remember which one it was. I gave him my address, and looking back now, and my mum was so angry at me.
Mm.
But we didn't have that education, and she was so angry and she was terrified. But nobody had that education back there. That man ended up being 19 years old. So, in all intents and purposes, he could have been a pedophile.
Yep.
He had my home address. He wrote to me in a letter and said, I will ride off into the sunset with you. Do you know how bad that could have been?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
kids, I feel like technology is just rapidly changing so quickly that there is no way that we can slow it down. And I think people need yearly training on this if they have kids.
Yeah, it's not well. It's funny because I think it was the end of primary school. There was a case in my state of South Australia about a girl called Carly Ryan, and it kind of made nationwide news. And she was one of the first girls, I guess, that was during that time of MySpace and that kind of Facebook early infancy era that got lured online. And she was unfortunately murdered by an older man, which she thought was someone around her age. And we were made quite aware of that during school. And I don't know what happens now. I'm not at school, I'm not involved, so I don't know how much education is, I guess, brought to everyone about it. But yeah, there's definitely a line that needs to be drawn from it. I don't know where that is, and that's, I guess, it's the hard part is like, where do you draw the line with the ban and like what implications you put in. But yeah, I think, look, it's not good when, like, during the TikTok ban, the social media ban, sorry, I had people commenting on my video saying like, oh, like, I'm 8 years old, I didn't get the ban, and I go like, 8 years old, I was, I was probably picking my nose at times at that age still. Like, it's just ridiculous to think that, there's probably kids even younger than 8 following me, but I have no idea because on TikTok it only says 18 to 24 is like the lowest age bracket.
It
But
doesn't
I
even
know,
give you.
yeah, but I know for a fact that it's not, I have, and it's hard as well because I have a lot of kids messaging me all the time, can I get a hi? Can you follow me? And, you've got to be really aware of it and what you respond to. And, you have to draw the line somewhere. I'm open to saying thank you and that, but I'll always leave it at that. I never really engage in conversation further than that because I know my boundaries and I know it's completely wrong. But I know that a lot of the people that do message are really young, just the way they act, and some send voice messages. And yeah, it's just really hard to control. But yeah, that just comes part of what I do. So
I think the thing that's really interesting is that these kids, you are their celebrity. So I grew
yes,
up with
yeah,
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston being our celebrity.
mm,
Friends was my be all and end all show. They were my celebrities. The wave of celebrity has changed in this country and around the world, and people who are on TikTok and Instagram, you will be more famous than half the people on television.
yeah.
And that really blows my mind. How do you feel that power? When I say power, do you feel like the impact of that, of being looked up to in that way?
Yeah, well, I never thought I would once become someone's role model. Like, I get messages a lot of times saying, I've had the worst day and your content makes my life so much better. My day is so much better. And I look up to you. You're my hero. I get a lot of these messages. And I don't really know what to do with that information. I don't really want that, I guess, that power. But, I'll walk down the street. Anytime I go out in public, I'm always recognized. I would say majority of the time I'm asked for photos. And yeah, it's a weird life because, as you said, like, I grew up with the celebrities of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and they were the pinnacle. But now it's, transferring to us, the social media creators, the content creators. And I guess it's a big pedestal to be on. And I don't think a lot of us are prepared for that because you can just go viral overnight these days and you're
Yeah.
suddenly someone's hero overnight. Yeah, and yeah, it's just one of those, it's a really strange feeling, being in this position at times.
This has
Yeah.
really taken a turn in terms of like, because this is so, like, I knew that I had a feeling that you were quite a serious person. I don't know what it is. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
creatives out there who their outlet is a persona.
hmm Yeah.
And I feel like in life, it must be quite confronting for you, for someone coming up, even though you probably love it and you actually have so much gratitude for it.
Yeah.
But that must be so hard if you're an introvert.
Yeah, massive introvert. And that it's interesting because Chris Lilly, he's a massive introvert as
Hmm.
well. And I guess that gives me comfort at times. You see what he's created, and it's so out there. You think he'd be this massive extrovert, the life of the crowd, but he's not. And that's what I am. I kind of like being in my own space, in my own comfort, and I don't really like the noise that much. I'm happy if someone comes up to me and they want a photo. I'm happy to oblige. Like, I love having that conversation with people. But at the same time, I like my own little life and my own little space, and yeah, just going about it and creating content. which I feel is fit for my audience. Yeah, I don't. As I said, I've never been the main character in life. Only in my
You are
only
now.
on my channel. Yeah, yeah,
You seem to make main character work very well for you.
yeah, yeah.
But Gary McDonald as well. I mean, do you remember Gary McDonald? He was in Mother and Son, the original.
Okay, no, no.
Okay, yeah, no, that does show
Yeah,
your that does show your age just a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
You probably know the Matt O'Kine and
yeah,
Denise Drysdale. Not Denise Drysdale. Oh my God, Denise. What's her name? God, she's the most delicious thing. Anyway, on the new version of Mother and Son.
okay,
But yeah, Gary McDonald, hugely prolific, very, very
yeah,
famous entertainer in our country. He's now a recluse, but he had really severe mental health problems.
mm,
But he was probably the best comedian of the boomer generation, I would say. Yeah, he was a boomer for sure. So in our
yeah,
country. So it's a really interesting, I always find it really interesting meeting people, their persona, because also like I'm the same. Like I know I'm like really bubbly and bright and everything's like peaches and rainbows and sunshine, but I have serious mental health stuff
yeah,
and
yeah,
it is a constant battle. And in fact, growing up, my mask was this. So I don't know how to be anything else in front of people. But when I come crashing down, it's like it's a very, very different thing. And I need that recharge, that really big, like, do not talk to me for the
yeah,
next 5 business days, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
But with you, so I want to talk about, I really must diverge again, go on another tangent, but I must know, and I saw this in your comments, everyone's like, tell us your origin story, tell us your origin story. This mum character,
yes,
is this your mum?
yes, yeah. It's my mum, and she she didn't know for a long time until someone she works with alerted her about it, and then she had a bit of a conversation with me about it. So yeah, for a long time I didn't tell my parents what I was doing, just because I guess they don't really understand, which is okay, that's that generation. But that mum character is my mum. But I guess for a lot of people, it's everyone else's mum because for some reason we had the same mum growing up. But yeah, I have my mum to thank for that, and I'm in forever in her debt.
What is your
So
mum's name? Am I allowed to know?
yes, Sharon,
Sha-
very straight, very straight. Sharon and Steve are my parents.
Get
You
the
know,
hell out of here.
I know. Yeah, Shazza.
That could not have gone better if I planned it. Honestly,
Yeah,
Sharon and Steve. Shout out to Sharon and
yeah,
Steve. You're inspo.
yeah,
And is your dad character? Do you know what's really funny? How you said like no one kind of gets behind your dad character. I actually haven't seen those videos. I never saw it.
yeah, yeah. So, well, that series that I did, that's kind of reflective of my parents in a way. Like my dad worked the corporate life, he worked in a bank for almost 40 years, and he always came home shirt, tie every day, exhausted, angry, frustrated, you name it. And he cooks dinner as well some nights, and yeah, I think I just portrayed my parents. That's exactly what I did, and I was just hoping that there was a little bit of relatability with that, and it turns out there was a lot more relatability than I initially thought there would
Did,
be.
did you grow up in the burbs like of Adelaide?
Yeah, yeah. So just outside the city, probably don't know the suburb. I grew up in a small little suburb. It's called Black Forest. There isn't a forest there. It's just called that. But yeah, it was about 10 minutes, not even outside the city. It's literally like smack bang in the middle of the burbs. Yeah,
So that is also why you've hit that, I think, that relatable sweet spot.
yeah,
Because we're talking like literal, if you were watching Neighbours, Sharon and Steve.
yeah, yeah. It was home and away on Neighbours growing up. We were a home and away family.
Yeah, so were we. We were
Yeah,
also a home and away family.
yeah, yeah,
You were
yeah.
either a home and away family or a Neighbours family. But I was in the kind of, I thought this was so cool when I was in year 12. No, sorry, not when I was in year 12. My God. When I was in high school, I think I must have been like year 7 or 8. All of the year 10s were friends with Zach Drayson, who was on Home and Away
Okay.
at the time. And
Wow.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if you know who that is.
Are you talking about the actors? Like that's the actor's name.
That's
Yeah.
his real
Yeah.
name. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I thought these guys are the coolest people on the planet.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they know Zach Drayson. Little did I know that he would be the least famous person that I would meet in my life. But it's just it's so funny. It was like Home and Away or Neighbours growing up.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was, there was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which I thought was so funny. It's your teacher who was writing names on the board.
Yes, yeah.
All teachers like that. How are all teachers like that at assembly? Why are they all the ones who just come in like real quiet and they're like,
I
oh, I
know.
see you. Like,
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? You don't think, like, growing up, you think, oh, each teacher's going to have this different personality, but it turns out they all have the same persona, really. And it's always, those teachers, I guess, growing up, I'm not sure if it's still a thing now, but they love that little power trip moment, especially, writing the names in class, staying back at lunch, all of these little moments that they had as teachers. But yeah, we all experience the same thing.
I can do this all day. I could do this all day.
Oh, wait. It's like,
Oh, wait. Actually, I have to ask you in that particular video, because I've seen that so many times. I love that one. The talking in the background, is that you doing talking and
yeah,
and audio over audio?
yeah. It's a bit awkward filming that because I just have to randomly say these things. Like I go, oh my God, like this and that. And then I'll go over to the other side of the room and I'll say, is that really happening? Like, we're not doing that at lunchtime. And then I'll have to like put them all together and then make it sound like they're coming from different ends of the room because everyone goes like, how is he like doing where are these voices coming from?
Genuinely.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so clever.
Yeah. It's just all like layering. And that's the thing. People see the content, but they don't see the process behind it. There's such a process. You're thinking of a script, you think about the hook, you're thinking about how long this should go for, how many characters there should be, what setting it should be. Should I use a green screen? Should I not? Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not always appreciated, but, I still do it.
It is appreciated. There are people, it doesn't matter if it's...
Yeah.
Do you know what I always think? And this is coming from someone who has like 4,000 followers and not, because I've always worked behind the scenes. I've always worked for outlets. So now
Yeah.
I'm kind of growing my own brand, which is so goddamn difficult, particularly doing what I'm doing. I find it so incredibly hard. But I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? So tired. I'm so sorry.
No, you were talking about your followers and
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is the ADHD. Like I
I have it as well.
Do
Just
you?
undiagnosed. Well, it's definitely undiagnosed. I have something. There's something not right.
No.
Yeah. I don't want to say it like that, but there's something going on. There's no way I can create the content I do, and there's not something going on in my brain.
You know what? At least you're self-aware.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? I have a total side note. We'll go back to this. This is me, tangents.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Imagine I found out like at 38 that I had ADHD, and it absolutely explained everything. And that is why I think it's really important that we do find out if there's something a little bit of screw loose, because it's really good to know, because you're like, oh, cool, this can now become my superpower. And everyone thinks it's really funny now because I'm like, I'll go off and I'll be having a conversation exactly like you've seen. And I'll be like, what the actual F was I just saying?
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it's also very endearing and very cute. You know what I mean? But the followers thing, the appreciation, you said,
Yes.
is not always appreciated. Very interesting. Because if you actually put 1,000 people in a room and you get 1,000 likes and you put 1,000 people in a room, holy shit.
It's crazy when you look at it like that, isn't it? When I hit 100,000 followers, I said to myself, now think of the MCG and a grand final day. That's how many followers I have. And I put it into that perspective and I went, wow, imagine standing in the middle of the Oval creating content while 100,000 people watch you. It's pretty crazy to think that. And then, when things go completely viral, millions, like these are populations of states in Australia. It's quite amazing. Countries. Yeah.
That actually made me super emotional thinking about that. I think that you need to tap into that. Listen to me. This is therapy with Anita.
Yeah.
I am 10 years older than you, so take my advice. But I think you need to tap into that when you only get, because to me, I would kill to get 600 likes on something.
Yeah. It's hard because when you do get a really viral video, you're chasing that high Like just the
Right.
next video, forever you're chasing that high again. And it's like that dopamine hit. It doesn't hit again and you want to chase it. You just keep on chasing and chasing and chasing. So when something does go completely viral, I kind of get scared. People get excited by it, but I go, yeah, but it has to stay like this, and I know it won't because I would rather content, to be honest, get a lot less views but higher engagement. And that's
Hmm.
something that I do pride my content on is that my engagement's really high. So I'll get a lot of comments, but sometimes the views just aren't there. Like TikTok, for whatever reason, just goes, we're not putting it out here. Like this is what it is. These people are going to see it and they can like it, but these other people aren't going to see it. And that's just how it goes.
It's so funny you should say the engagement thing because I literally wrote the engagement of fans, exclamation mark in my notes
Yes.
last night when I was doing some extra research stalking you. And I could not believe the level of do more of this.
Mm,
Can you do this? Where is this? Why is Maureen that we don't want Maureen, we want Jill? Like it was so wonderful to see that you have people, mums were commenting. Like
mm,
I think when you measure your content, it's a really good lesson, I think, for you to go, okay, it's not just about the views or the whatever. It's about these people are engaging and loving what I'm doing. But I'm so confused by you saying that you're getting all the engagement but not the views.
Yeah, well, it is confusing because when you say engagement, you think, oh, well, there's going to be views attached to this, but that's not always the case. And that's how the algorithm works. So my main audience is on TikTok, not on Instagram.
Yeah.
But TikTok, I have that, I guess, a cult following, if you will. So people just hang on your every thought
Yeah.
and they're just dying to see the next thing. And they don't really care like what it is. They just want to comment. They want to be a part of this community. They want to be involved. And I don't know how to describe it. I've just created that persona that people just relate to and they just want to see more and more of it. But TikTok doesn't necessarily do that. So like I don't want to get all intricate with TikTok, but TikTok basically pushes it out to begin with and they test an audience. They test your outside audience that aren't your followers. And if they are not engaged, then it sticks to your current audience.
God, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's happening when it happens. Like, you can see it. I'll say to my partner, I'll go, this is just not happening. And she goes, just give it time. And I go, no, it's not happening. Like I just have to deal with it and move on. And yeah, like it is what it is sometimes.
The thing that I find really interesting, I've heard you kind of we've been speaking for a little bit now, and the pressure that you put on yourself is
Yeah.
so interesting to me. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, it's immense. Like, well, because it's what I do. I do this full time. Not a lot of people know this. A little bit of a spoiler. People think I'm a teacher. I am not. I've had no teaching experience. I've never been a teacher, don't have a teaching degree. It's crazy. Yeah. It's probably another topic to delve into, but no teaching background. The only teaching experience I have is from my partner who did do a degree in teaching. She was a teacher for not even a year and then moved into marketing. But that's, um, yeah,
I love that for her. I
yeah.
love
Oh
that for
no,
her. She was
she is
like, you know
thriving.
what?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
teaching the young
yeah.
is not for me.
Not for me, but she's thriving in marketing now.
I
So
love
good on her. So.
that. Yeah.
But going back to the pressure, like because I do this full time, I put pressure on myself and
Yeah.
my channel relies on engagement, because in Australia we don't get the creator fund like the rest of the world does. And people don't understand that still. They go, oh, well, like, it doesn't matter how your video performs, you're still making bank, as people like to refer it to as. But that's not the case. The only way we make money is through brand deals in Australia.
Yeah.
And
I was
and
going to
that's
ask you
yeah.
that, and that sounds extremely rude, but like, how do you make money? I hate that.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, how do you make
And
money? Like,
we're very invasive these days. There's even social media pages that ask people what they earn. Like I think it's
like
called. I
content
think
creator?
yeah. Well, I think it's an app like that helps a job like platform. It's called Get Ahead, but they interview people around Australia. Hey, how much do you earn? Like, what do you do for work and stuff? So I think as a generation, we just want to know everything about someone and know what they earn, what they do. But yeah, that's, I guess, bringing back to where the pressure comes from. I have this audience and I have to kind of make like Rain. Like it's a weird thing because I never thought I'd be in this position, and to be in this position now is there's just this added pressure that comes with it. I didn't even think the pressure was going to come, but now that I do it as a job, every video feels like there's just this weighted pressure on it because you've got to keep that engagement up, to keep those brand deals, to keep brands interested in you, coming up with new ways to lure in other brands. And yeah, it's just this forever ongoing cycle of pressure and, release. So
How do you release that then? Because that's very challenging. That's a very challenging way to live, Josh.
yeah, well, it's hard that well, the release comes with brand deals. And, I'm in a fortunate position now where it's consistent and brands are actually seeing my content for what it is and saying, well, there's a creative element here we can work with and there's a lot we can do with this guy. So that's where I'm really appreciative because brands are starting to see, and that wasn't the case to begin with. I was still working another job. I was working in marketing. And it probably wasn't until early last year where I felt like I can really pursue this. And if I want to be serious about this, I'm gonna have to go, full swing into it. And that's what I did.
Do you find that the videos that you spend the most time on,
Yeah.
you know exactly what
I
I'm
know
going to
I
say?
know go with this.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're bringing up trauma.
This is such a traumatic interview. Oh my
I
God.
know. Where are the tissues? I need like an assistant to bring you.
How horrible is that?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you explain? Because everyone's like, we know what we're talking about. No one else knows. Well,
Yeah.
other people
So
probably
when you
but
put
yeah.
the incredible effort into videos and it completely flops, is
Tanks.
that? Yeah. You can't do it. You can't do anything but sit there and laugh because otherwise you'll just cry. Like I just stare at the wall and go like, what the hell happened? What am I doing? But
That's
yeah,
so bad.
no, it took me a long time to get over it. Initially, like my partner Jasmine's her name.
I love my
Yeah,
best friend's name's Jasmine, so I love
yeah,
her already.
lovely partner. But
We
she
love
she just
Jasmine.
it called me out. She just said, you've got to get over this. You
Mm.
can't just beat yourself down every time a video flops. And she mentioned just imagine, you're sitting in a room with 10,000 people. And I go, well, to put it in that perspective, yeah, like it does feel a bit better, but it's more the time and effort sometimes,
Yeah.
like people don't know, but sometimes it can take you all day. People think, oh, he just, sets up a tripod. It takes like 5 minutes. Like I could do this. Anyone can do this. And I go, well, yeah, anyone can film, but can you create the script? Can you make it entertaining for everyone? Can you do all of these other things? And then
Costume changes.
exactly, making sure you're not sweating like during summer and you're sweating. You kind of trying to like keep your look up and like trying to like brush away the wig
But
every
also,
5 seconds.
sometimes you have 3 different characters on screen.
Yeah.
You have to do all of those 3 different
Yeah.
things. Like
And you have to get into character. I'm like pretty well trusted in myself to get into characters straight away now, where it took some time. Even like I love doing South African accents.
yeah, where did that come from? Somebody mentioned that the other day.
It's really strange because I guess, well, if you look back at like my family tree, it's really like Australia born in Australia, born in Australia. Like it doesn't go to like the UK and stuff for a long way back. But I remember my dad telling me like I'm 1/8 South African or something
No.
when I was a
So
child.
you
And
just
it just stuck with me. And I thought, well, if I'm 1/8 South African, I can surely do the accent. And I just worked on it, and people find it funny. I don't know what it is about that accent. I just find it funny,
See,
and that's why I did it. Yeah.
Chris Lilly's mum is South African, I believe.
Well, there you go.
Which is
And he did, yeah, he
hysterical.
did
And
it.
he did it a lot.
Yes,
Like he did
yes.
the pet psychic. She was
Yeah.
South African.
Yeah, it's strange because I don't feel like I'm doing it justice, and I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not like out here auditioning to be, the South African voice. Like it's just one of those things. But I thought growing up, like at school, there was always a South African teacher, and I guess I modeled those videos off one of like a, I guess they were a helper on one of my camps, and he wasn't actually South African, he was German, but I guess a lot of that persona was like they had similarities, and my German teacher at school was actually South African.
No,
It's interesting. Yeah, it's really strange. But a lot of what she said, like that really stuck with me, and that's kind of what I based the South African character off of, really. So
I would like to know, are people ever offended by your content?
yes, yep, straight out. There was a video I did. I actually don't mind talking about it. There was a video I did about like cooking, so meals that we had growing up. You know, your apricot chicken, beef casserole, curried sausages, all like, you know, the pinnacle of, I called them shit foods. But I made a video about that. And people really didn't understand what I was trying to say. And this is the problem, especially with the boomer generation, because a lot of the hate came from Facebook and Instagram. And it was about 5 meals I hated growing up as a child. So let me preface that I hated this as a child, which you're
I
allowed to.
hate it. You're
Yeah.
allowed to say. Yeah.
I ate it. I was forced to eat it, but I didn't like it. Like we're allowed to not like things. But people didn't understand that, and people grilled me. I got proper hate. You know, I was sent messages saying, "How dare you say this about your mum? Like, you ungrateful little shit, like this and that. I wish you were never born." Like, there were,
Excuse me.
yeah, there weren't like, I wouldn't so per se call them death threats, but there was some really vile comments, and it shook me. Like, when I first started posting content, I had said I'm going to get some hate on some videos, and that's just part of the game. But this was probably a step over the line. I think people really got personal with it. They more so defending my mum, but I said, you know, I basically clapped back to a lot of people saying, like, you don't understand, like what my household was like. This is just my view on what it was like as a child getting these meals. I'm trying to make this relatable content, and it went completely viral. Like, it probably for the wrong reasons, but
Because the
it was a
engagement was so
yeah.
high.
But the engagement was, you, like, if you look back on the comments, you just will just be like dumbfounded. But that was probably one of my hardest weeks to deal with as a content creator, because I create comedy and I make people laugh, and when I don't do that, like it affects me, because it doesn't only affect me, like I feel like it affects my own audience and everyone around me, and kind of like what the content I put out going forward. So yeah, it's not always like, as I say, like, it's not everyone's going to agree with what I do, which is fine. But as long as the majority does, then I'm happy. You can't please everyone. Someone's always going to just hate your content or just hate you for no reason. But that speaks more about them than it does for you. Like, you know,
I'm
it's
just in
just,
shock that people would troll, like, were absolutely saying, I wish you were never born, for you
yeah,
saying you
yeah,
didn't like
it's,
apricot chicken. I'm sorry, I didn't like apricot chicken either. And my mum was a terrible cook, so I didn't like half of the things that she made.
yeah. But people love the comparison. You know, it brings you back to, you know, when I grew up and I didn't like a food, my mum would always say, "Well, think about the kids in
In
Africa."
Africa.
I was like, "Mum, you've told me like 10 times this week. I get it. Like, what do you want me to do? Package up a meal and then send it over there?" But
Yeah,
it
and
was
we grew
like,
up with that because of the World
yeah,
Vision ads and all of the ads.
yeah.
And we absolutely, I mean, the 40-hour famine. Did you do the 40-hour famine?
I never did it, but we did all of that kind of stuff at school, like the World
Mm.
Hunger, the World Vision. We could sponsor a child. There
Yep,
was all that
same.
sort of stuff.
I
I
wonder
don't know if they still have it,
Yeah, I
but
don't know. I should ask the kids because
yeah.
I don't know the kids. We should ask all of the kids. Hey, children. No, we should definitely ask my kids because I'd be really interested to know that. But
Mm,
also, if you think about it, we saw those ads when we were at home from school. We're sick, watching Oprah and
yeah,
watching Jerry Springer and watching Passions. Please, you probably didn't see Passions. You
probably
missed
a little too
out.
young for that, yeah.
Oh my God, Passions was one of the best shows on television. It was terrible, but it was amazing. It was like Bold and Beautiful, but like worse.
Oh yeah.
So we had advertising, but now
Yeah.
because the advertising's so different, I think that you don't have that kind of kids don't. It's almost like they don't have those water cooler moments. Well, it's hard to say. Like with advertising, you and I could probably sing a million jingles to a million ads. Kids these days, they wouldn't even know a different ad, they wouldn't know any jingles to anything because they don't have that anymore. We were like sold to, whereas these kids are sold to in a very different way. You said before that you were in marketing. So
Yes.
when did you decide, like, how did you decide to take this full time?
Well, there is a bit of a story behind it. So yeah, I was really sitting on my hands for years. I worked in so many different industries, hospitality, retail, transport, everything. Always had a creative mindset, and I feel like I had a bit of marketing spark in me. So I tried my do at university, and it was not for me. I was like, I am out before I have to pay HECS debt, so I was out within like the first 4 weeks. Sorry to anyone who's done a marketing degree there, but I thought I could do the same thing within a year of by doing a diploma. So I went to TAFE, which is what it's called in South Australia. So it's just like the lower level.
We have
And
that we have that around the country, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
TAFE?
TAFE. Yeah, 100%.
It's called TAFE. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a South Australian thing.
That's so interesting. There you go. There's another thing that you can do.
Well, there you go. But yeah, did that diploma, and I kind of had my experience, like a bit of experience in different agencies and stuff like that, and then was doing a bit of marketing for a gin distillery back in South Australia. And I was, I guess, pushing 30 at the time, and I was just thinking, like, what do I really want to do with my life? I was actually creating content already. So I had a previous channel. Not many people know this, but I was doing content surrounding fashion. I was a bit of a fashionista, if you say
I'm
so.
sorry, what?
Yeah. So I was really into my fashion, outfits, everything. Then, how you call like an outfit check? Outfit of the day.
You just sounded like such an old person then. An outfit check.
Hashtag outfit check, fit check, whatever you want to call it.
It's a fit check or an OOTD.
Yeah, that's it. And it just never went anywhere. And I just pushed it, and this is like, it's not working. I'm just going to fall into marketing, work my way up the corporate ladder. And it wasn't until one night I was sitting on the bed with my partner, and she was like, you should just start posting like comedy videos. And I was like, oh, like what? She's like, oh, like skits, like you're funny. And I was like, yeah, like I'll give it a go. Because I always was like like a bit of a jokester at school. Like I was never the class clown, as I say. But
when you were comfortable with your friends and stuff.
But I used to prank I don't know if you've ever heard of Angry Dad, Mitch Orville and his dad created. Like there was this Angry Dad character.
I was going to say Angry Birds.
Massive YouTubers, but I had the original Angry Dad because I used to prank my dad all the time throughout school. Used to like do some awful stuff, hide like onions until they went off, and then he was just like cranky at it. And I used to record his reactions, go to school, show all my mates, and they would crack up. And I said, "Oh, there's something in this," and I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And then I just left it. Times moved on, and then I kind of sat there in that moment and thought back to that. Like when I was doing that, and I was like, I used to make people laugh, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a go. So I'm just kind of rambling. It's a long story.
No, I love it. It's fine.
It's it wasn't probably until late 2024, I would say, like around Olympics, and I started posting content. My first video, I went to so much effort, it completely flopped. I was like, oh dear.
You're like, I'm not doing this now.
Yeah.
This was such a dumb idea.
Yeah, it's such
Jasmine,
a dumb
how
idea.
dare you?
I know. But I kept going at it. I thought, nah, it can't just be one video. I just can't like let it go. So it happened at the time that the Olympics were on, and I woke up one morning. This is a really interesting story. Well, I find it interesting.
No, I'm so interested. Yeah. I love an origin story.
Yeah. So the Olympics run, and I love the Olympics. Like I watch everything. Every
Sorry,
mode.
can I just ask you a question? Did you watch at the Olympics the spider monkey? Not the spider monkey. It's not called spider monkey. They look
like how they run up fascinating, isn't it? The stuff that they have at Olympics now is just baffling. They'll probably have content creators at some point.
That was the most phenomenal sport to watch.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? We had swimming and running once upon a time, and now it's everything.
Anyway, sorry, go back. Yes, you love the Olympics?
Yes, but this was at the time during the Raygun breakdancing. Yeah. And I woke up one morning and I saw it, like this was live, and I went, wow, this is gonna go like properly viral. So I said I have to do something with this. And because I was in the fashion space, I had a tracksuit at the time that was green and gold, and I was like, I'm gonna do something with this because this is gonna be like a phenomenon. So I just set up the tripod and I just did that. Like Chris Lilly did it, like when he was Jonah and he did this break dance. And I thought I'm gonna kind of like base it around that. And it went completely viral. And I thought, if this
I'm
isn't a
on to
sign,
something.
yeah, if this is not a sign, I don't know what is. And at that point, I just continued on. And from there, I kind of tapped back into that school energy because I thought, well, Chris Lilly did a lot of school characters. And I thought, I've got this like memory of so much from school that I think I can tap into. And I did one from assembly straight after, and that went viral again.
Was that the Advanced Australia Fair one?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
I
that was
remember.
because of the song, and that was another click moment because it's an Indigenous version, which is really good, by the way, and no one had heard it for years. And this was the
Oh
moment
my
I
God,
went,
like the second and third verses?
yes, but
Yeah.
it was it was like an instrumental, like it's a strange version, but it's the one we all used in school. And when people said, I have not heard this in years, oh my God, you've opened up a memory, you've unlocked a memory. And that was the light bulb moment. I went, I've just tapped into a really specific memory for everyone. I can keep doing this. I can keep unlocking these memories for people. And the rest is history. It
Uh,
really is. Yeah.
you
So
make me think back to primary school because it's really funny. In my sister's 40th speech for me, she said, I always tell everyone I peaked in primary school because I was school captain, like,
yeah, yeah. The pin.
like the pinnacle. I was school captain at St. Ives North Primary School, and it was pretty amazing. We got to sit up at assembly. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this happened at your school, but we got to actually sit on the stage.
Yes.
And we got
Yes.
to sit and watch like the assembly. Oh my God, I'll never
Oh
forget.
my God, you've just
Unlocked a
unlocked a
memory.
memory. Yes, I forgot how they used to sit at the front, and then they used to they had all the duties sometimes of like handing out awards and
Ringing
oh
the
my
bells.
yes,
Oh my
yes.
God, one day we almost got stripped of our badges because somebody started laughing. Being school captain, you're very
Yeah,
welcome. You're very welcome to do this in my honor. But like being school captain was like the pinnacle of primary school. Like
yeah,
it was so amazing. My mum cried. Everybody cried when I got school captain. But I feel like my life just went a little bit
yeah.
downhill.
So did you have SRC? So the
Yeah.
student,
So do you know
yeah.
what? We didn't in primary school, but in high school we did.
Wow, really?
So I
Okay.
think SRC came in high school and then now it's in primary schools. It wasn't when I was at school. It definitely
Okay.
wasn't because
Okay.
I would remember because I would have been the queen of the SRC and
Yeah.
because I was school captain, so I was like all above rain. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I rained down on everybody.
Yeah.
So it was so cool though. Being school captain was such an honor. So you know how we've already spoken about how I was not a shy kid.
Yeah.
My sister wrote my speech and I got up and I sung and danced for my speeches because we
Oh,
had to do
wow.
speeches in front of the whole school to
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did, you've got to vote for NIT.
No.
And everyone else was like, I can't promise that I will eradicate homework and detention. And I can't promise that we will have vending machines in every, like.
That's right. Yeah. I
And I was
can't
up there
promise.
like, I
Yeah.
vote for ANIT.
I have secondhand embarrassment.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
But it really was an honor. But like primary school was honestly, I just think back on that time. Do you know there's one thing that I absolutely have to talk to you about? It was the names on the the group names, like the bookworms. Ugh, how unoriginal.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the mass debaters.
Yeah. Yeah. Without fail, every time there was a group assignment, and even year 8, year 9, year 10, someone always wrote it on the board, and it was never not funny. Like
It's
it was,
still funny.
it's like when like a fart will never not be funny, and that will never not be funny. Like it's just one of those things. Yeah. Yeah.
In year 4, and I am dying to name and shame because I remember the teacher and the student that this happened to. But in year 4, these kids were all in the back of the classroom laughing because they were looking up a dictionary. They were looking up bad words, obviously masturbate is not a bad word, but back then it was like you're looking up, pornography, basically. This year, this teacher, and I actually don't know if this is considered cruel, but it was cruel at the time. He made the kid read the definition in front of the entire class. He had to stand up because they were giggling about it. He made them stand up with a dictionary and read what masturbation was in front of the entire class. Yeah. I've never forgotten it.
Oh my God. That's the things they did. Kids
the 90s, man.
Yeah.
90s.
Well, when I say kids these days just don't understand, like that's one of them. That is.
You know what? It really gave us character, I believe.
Yeah.
It was such character building shit. Like there's no way. Like I look back and you've got to have a sense of humor. I think, tell me about that though. Like you said before that people don't, that there was that pressure of the apricot curry and all that kind of stuff. But the sense of humor, do you find that it's even in the last 2 years has changed?
Yeah. I think there's been a shift. I don't know what from. Yeah, but there's definitely a shift in humor. I think it's it stems from the younger generation though. And I think they're really changing the whole outlook on what's funny and what isn't anymore. But like, I don't know if that's just us getting older and we just think it's like, because I always think this as well though, because you think, oh, like your dad, like you have a friend around growing up and like your dad tries to always be the cool person, tries to be funny. And like, you're like, Dad, stop it. You're not funny. And then like, but I just think it just goes from generation to generation. Like,
You're so right. You're so right.
It's just generational, isn't it? Like you think what you think is funny, the person like younger than you is like, that's not funny. But then the person younger than them, they're going to be like, you're not funny. So it just like continues on.
Also, have a sense of humor. Seriously.
Yeah. If you're talking about that sense, like I think people have lost the sense of humor
I
and
agree.
lost that ability to joke, and it's very PG now. Like everything's filtered, everything's censored. You can't, like I even in conversations, and I've been on other podcasts, but I feel like I have to back up everything I say. If I'm like out with friends or something, I feel like I have to go, but not in
like
that way.
I'm not being racist or like obviously that's a completely
like if I said like, oh, this chicken's got so much fat on it, but not
like,
in that way. No. Like,
chicken wasn't fat. I'm sure it was really healthy.
Yeah.
But it's so true, and I grew up, my parents experienced, my mum, experienced extreme racism coming to this country. She looked Spanish, so was called a she was also from an Asian country because she grew up in the Philippines, and then she had an American accent. And so kids were like, because in the Philippines, you grew up with an American accent. So it was very confusing for the kids. But like, God, that woman, she's going to be listening to this and she won't be very happy with me, but it's okay. I love you, Mum. When she went to do my 40th speech, I was like, Ma, she's like, I'm just going to wing it. And I'm like, please don't. Please don't. Like, she was fine and it was really beautiful. But because I think that boomer generation, they definitely grew up with not understanding LGBTQIA or race, like that being horrendously, overtly racial. To them, they grew up with racism as a norm.
Yeah.
It's just really up to us to educate them.
But I also think it's pretty hard to re-educate. I know.
I agree.
It's much easier said than done, because they were already educated, like growing up, but like they're not on that specifically, but they went through education, but not necessarily being told about what's right and wrong with these things. Like my dad's turning 70 this year, and to try and re-educate him on all of this.
That's really interesting. How young were your parents when they had you?
They were old. So my dad.
Sorry, how old?
Yeah, it's 40. So my mum, I reckon she would have been 36 or 7 when she had me. So her first would have been, 1992, like early 30s.
So they really were they really are boomers.
Yeah.
Like exactly the same as my mum. So that's, oh my God. That is.
Yeah. People get
old
shocked.
For back then.
My partner, she's only 3 years younger than me, but her parents are like 20 years younger than my parents, which is crazy. Yeah, it's
No
amazing.
way.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
That is like, I just am so blown away because back
Yeah,
then, for
yeah,
you to have older parents, that's
yeah.
really,
It's
really
quite
unheard of.
rare. Quite rare. Yeah.
Did they just decide to have kids later on, or was it that they couldn't?
I think, well, they were in previous relationships, and I don't look
Oh,
previously married, but I don't think obviously it didn't go anywhere. And they just didn't have kids with that partner at the time.
that makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just a later life thing, and I had my fun with my dad growing up. Still, like people say, oh, you won't be able to kick the footy and doing this, but I did all of that with my dad. So he still taught me to
Oh,
ride a bike. He taught me how to drive. All of these things, like. But people think, oh, just because like you're this age, they won't be able to do it, which is, like they're not going to be as able as a 20-year
yeah.
younger person. But I still had that childhood that everyone else experienced.
As we can
So
see.
yeah, but bringing back to the sense of humor, I have to now pull my dad up on things like out in public.
100%.
I'll go, Dad, you can't say that, and that we always have to pull them up like you can't say that anymore. And like I
Yeah.
don't want to be that person, but like you have to because someone is going to say something, and unfortunately, like you're going to get in like really deep trouble.
Big
Like
trouble.
yeah, big trouble these days. It's not like a slap on the wrist. You can get in prison like for certain things said, and people can file all sorts of things.
Does that scare you putting stuff out in public? Like that terrifies me because I have zero filter. Like I do 8 minutes of radio a week up in
Hmm.
Brisbane. I phone in and I think if I say the wrong thing, I'm terrified because
Yeah,
I don't have no filter. Like I can edit this.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can make us sound really intelligent.
Well, that's why I like podcasts and doing content creation because I can edit it and I can cut things out, which I may think, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. It's not like if I go on live radio, I would probably be in deep trouble.
Oh my God.
Because I would swear by mistake. Like I never intentionally swear, and I've really worked on it. When I first started doing my content, I swore a lot, and a lot of people didn't like that. They go, "Do you have to swear every 2 seconds?" And I go, "Oh, probably not." But
What did you say? Like fuck?
yeah, because that's what was said growing up in my household. Like it was quite common, like idiot,
Shazza
bloody,
and
like
Steve,
yeah,
man.
I know, like fucking hell. You'd like get frustrated and you'd say fucking hell. Like it would just be a thing you'd say.
I want to meet your parents. I feel like we're
Yeah,
going to be best
yeah,
friends.
I know. Well, they live interstate now, but they are actually
Did
coming
I live
here
in
for the
Sydney?
first time. No, Adelaide, not Melbourne. Yeah,
Damn.
Adelaide. I know. Because
If they
everyone
were in
always says that.
Sydney,
Go,
I'd be
needs,
like,
yeah, yeah, knock knock.
just wanted to come over. Just wanted some apricot chicken.
Yeah, but they actually they couldn't believe it when I went back to Adelaide for Gather Round, the AFL festival round, and I said you're going to get a first-hand look at what it's like in like the day in the life of what it's like for me walking around in public. And this was an event where all the kids go to, like the footy festival, and I said you watch this. So 5
Imagine if
meter,
nobody said
yeah,
hello
I know.
to you.
But it was every few steps was, hi, can I get a photo? Oh my God, are you the TikTok? No one ever refers to me as, oh
Instagram.
my God, it's Josh. They go, oh, are you the TikTok guy? You're the TikTok guy. And like every few steps was that. And like I even had this one girl, she just came up and hugged me and I didn't know what to do. Like she was like, I reckon probably 14. And
Oh my
like I'm
God.
an adult. I have to keep reminding myself like I'm 30, but I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't just
Like,
go
what
like
do you
push her.
do?
Like yeah,
Like,
you
push
just
her
have to hug them
away.
back.
So
And yeah,
interesting.
people are quite forward. Like a lot of them, they can get a bit invasive at times. They'll say like, can you like say a line, like you do this and do that. And I go, well, like I can't really, but you don't want to sound too rude. And yeah, it's like you can't just go your day normally because something like, and
Maybe
you've got to
you
be
could
prepared
just
for that.
say, listen to me. I'm like, advice
Yeah,
again, from
yeah.
Auntie Needs. But maybe you could just be like, let's just take a photo instead. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I say, I'm always happy to take a photo. And if they want to do like a video, saying, "Oh my God, I'm with so and so," that's
You can
fine.
say hi,
Yeah,
like,
hi, yeah, all of that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna deny someone because I know what it was like growing up. Not to say I'm comparative to sports stars and stuff like that. But I got shy going up to a sports person growing up and asking for a photo. So I know what it was like. And I was told no by these people I looked up to sometimes, and it hurt me. So I always make sure that I
Oh,
have time for people. Because without them, I wouldn't have a channel and I wouldn't be able to have a living. So, yeah, I've got
that's
my
so
audience
important.
to
The thing that
thank. Yeah,
it sounds like obviously you're a massive sports guy. You've mentioned
yeah,
sports a few
yeah,
times. Like I feel like I wish I knew about AFL to be able to have a conversation with
yeah,
you about it, but I don't. But do you now, because you must be invited to a lot of events. The one thing that I
yeah.
found doing this job, because I've been doing this for 10 years as an entertainment journalist, is that you are now in the rooms with the people that you used to look up to.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a real pinch me moment. Yeah, especially a lot of like the larger events, the larger scaled events. There's some really famous heads. Like I call them famous, but some other people might not. But like it's really weird. And it's a real full circle moment because a lot of these creators I watched in school with my mates on YouTube. Like some of these creators that I see at events are the OGs. And I go, how am I at the same event as this person that I
Like
watched
who?
when
Tell
I
me
was a
who.
well, Troy Kinney's one. Troy Kinney is like a comedy creator. Max Price is another one. They're like parents now, so they're I don't know, they're in like their 40s and stuff. But these are like the
So
OGs.
old.
They had like skit shows on TV. Like maybe
Oh.
before the Dave Hughes era, but it was called like the Kinney Show.
The Kinney Show.
Yeah,
That's who I thought you were
yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Troy Kinney. And to be standing there and I'm just going, that's him. Like I used to watch him on YouTube at school, like when you're meant to be doing schoolwork, and suddenly I'm at an event with him, and it's just crazy. I think I don't think I'm gonna get properly shy and all like giddy until I meet Chris Lilly. I think the moment that happens is, yeah, that will change my life. And that's the one person, if there's anyone I ever want to collaborate with and
Ugh.
do like on a project or anything with, is Chris Lilly. Just to be sitting in a room and watching him do what he does.
Do his work. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it'd be so interesting to be Chris Lilly now
Mm,
because he really got cancelled. Growing up, he was the pinnacle of comedy in terms of relatable comedy or satire, really
mm,
understanding. That's the thing that I love about your comedy is that you understand the world. It's not about, coloring your nails with whiteout. It's like so much more than that. It's about understanding that this is, as a generation, this is what we did.
yeah,
And I think that that's what Chris Lilly really, touched on. And back then when he was at his peak, that's why he was so popular because he understood the world. And, probably like you, a bit of a follower at school, he probably stepped back and watched.
yeah, yeah,
Being a
yeah.
background character has its perks.
Yes, yeah, you watch, you take in everything. Like that's when people go, how do you know so much about teachers when like you're not a teacher? And I just go, because I was vigilant. Like I was a sponge. I just looked at what they did, every little, not what they, because I was horrible at school. I didn't learn anything. So I was probably looking at their body language, what they were doing, like their actions instead of what was they were actually teaching at the time. Yeah, like that's just, I guess that's how I know so much from that time.
This is what I love about
Yeah,
content creation. It was the people who couldn't sit still in a classroom. It was the
yeah,
kids like me who was like, she's so social,
mm,
as in she
yeah,
never shuts the fuck up.
yeah,
She's so popular, she's so
yeah,
social, or whatever. But it was seen back then as like, shut up, sit down and listen and
yeah,
be academic. I was never academic. It's
yeah,
much more creative. Not being able to sit still, not being able to focus. And it's a
mm,
learning disability, and there's so much
yeah,
of it around. And I think the education system really fails so many kids because of that.
yeah. And like you just looked over, like, and I think a big thing in school is, like you're also targeted in a way that probably at times was a bit unfair, and teachers took advantage of that weakness of yours instead of really
Mm.
trying to help you. And I don't want to single out a single teacher, but my year six teacher is probably the reason why I have a lot of my content.
I thought you were going to say my trauma.
No, well, yeah, that as well. That was a given. But she basically made my life hell that year. Because I was shy, I was on my report card, easily distracted. He can do it, but he just doesn't raise his hand. He doesn't do this. He doesn't speak up. But she took advantage of this, and she used to target me. Like, example, does anyone know the answer to this question? And then she'd look around the room, and every time, Josh, you need to answer this. Josh, can you read this paragraph? Josh, can you do this? And it was just so overwhelming. And I just went back into my shell. Like year 4 and 5, I started to get out of my shell. And then year 6, I went back in. And that really took a toll on me that year. And people say, it's not the teacher. And I go, no, it is the teacher. It is the teacher, because the very next year I had my favorite teacher ever, and I performed so much better. I was more out of my shell. I've got better grades, and yeah, like I think that there just has to be more awareness on it. I know that like there is now, there's more diagnosing of kids if there's especially if there's learning difficulties where there probably wasn't that, and you were probably just more picked on back in the day
100%.
for it, instead of there wasn't that help that was probably really needed at the time.
And there still isn't, because of funding. There's a lot of it's and also parents, when they're with their kids all the time, they don't actually necessarily see it. They almost need like an outsider to say, hey, look, this is what we think is happening to your child. Because they may not necessarily see it themselves, and they're doing the best that they can. But it's like once you get that kind of help for them, that diagnosis or that help or that tutoring, whatever, it changes kids. It changes lives. But there's no, how do you change the education system to cater to everybody? You can't. That's why. But it is very, very difficult. I'm like the black sheep of my family on both sides, and I'm the only one who's not academic, who didn't really, or my sister, both of I, well, no, my sister was extremely academic. I never been, and school just never was for me, and neither was working in corporate environments.
Yep. I feel like we have similarities.
I know, we do.
Yeah.
That's why I think you have no, we do, because except that I was just my mask, your mask was to be quiet, whereas my mask was to be loud and extroverted, and really people either loved me, hated me. I'm a very polarizing person. Like, I'm very lovable, like obviously now, but like back then it was like super duper polarizing, and that's hard, because you're trying to find yourself. I don't think I've even, like, in all seriousness, I don't think I've found my identity or who I am until all of the shittest things have happened to me over the past 3 years, and now I'm finally like, here I am doing this on my own.
Yeah, I don't think anyone fully finds themselves though until you leave school, because like you're never prepared for it. They don't prepare you for leaving school. There's no guidelines like that. I was never taught about how to budget. I was never taught about finance.
Change your oil.
All these things, like stupid algebra. Like, I don't want to think about that, yet we all think about that in a way like gives us trauma, because we didn't need to know that. But I think it's the life lessons that we're never really taught, that we only learn once we're on the outside world. And I guess, I think you're forever finding yourself. I don't think anyone gets to that moment where they just say, yep, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be.
Well, tell me, strive for what I keep forgetting to say this, but I cannot believe you started this in 2024.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
And you've had 100,000 followers, like, on TikTok alone. Like, that's kind of insane to me.
Yeah.
So then, if you looked at yourself in 2 years' time, because it was 2 years since you started, what is it where do you want to be? Would you want to do a TV show? Would you want a Netflix series?
It's hard. I don't see myself, and a lot of, I guess, people surrounding me think that stand-up comedy is the pathway to take, but I don't want to do that, and I'm okay saying that. I know a lot of people
terrifying.
do. I hate public speaking. I am, like, as I said, I'm the biggest introvert. I don't want to learn to love it either. I don't want to be like, I don't want to get a course.
To love it. I want to learn to love it. Please don't make me.
Yeah, like, that's like, if you don't want to do something, don't do it, and that's fine. Like, I am comfortable saying that. Like, it's just not for me. I've never seen it as being something that I've wanted to do. And like I was never in the drama. I was never doing drama at school, never did any of that. Like I wasn't out there. I was never in front of an audience. So I
Mm.
don't want, yeah, as I said, I don't want to learn to love it. And I've got to be okay with that. In terms of the future though, like it's changed though. The landscape's changed. If you had told me this,
Yep.
if I was doing this 20 years ago, I would say, yeah, Chris Lilly TV show, have that. That's my moment. But it's no longer that, people may look at the podcast route or starting up their own business, I guess, developing a mini series, whether that be on YouTube or like a TV show of some kind. But I don't know. I think I'm just rolling with that at the moment, seeing where it really takes me. I know some days can just change. Like, you might wake up and you get a phone call and it will change your life. That might happen, but I'm just kind of rolling with that at the moment. And I don't really, I guess, have a thing at the end of the tunnel yet, um, which is kind of really like showing
The
itself at me.
pinnacle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it will come. I know it will, and I know I'm in the right industry for it, and I have the right people around me to help me
You're in the right
get there.
industry, that is for
Yeah,
sure. Like you are
yeah.
so, so good at what you do. Do you ever
Thank
are
you.
you worried that you're going to burn out? Do you worry about that?
I think, yeah, well, with every video you do, that's one less idea. That's gone. Like you can't ever, I guess, re-tap into that. So that's where I feel like burnout could come is when you're probably taking on too much. You're trying to think of too many ideas. You're biting off more than you can chew, essentially. And that's, I guess, where burnout comes from when you're just trying to do too much. I think there will be, look, I'm pretty good though. I think I have a good schedule behind me to avoid burnout. Like I don't
Mm,
post on weekends. I just take that time off like everyone else does.
great.
I try and treat it like a 9 to 5 in a way. So, your Monday to Friday. And have that time off. I started out posting every day. And I felt that creep up on me.
Yeah.
Like slowly started to feel the burnout, losing ideas quickly, losing momentum. But yeah, there will come a point in time where I don't have that audience that I probably once did. Like that
Mm,
comes with everything. I think everyone has their moments, and you've got to make the most of it. And if you don't, you'll fall behind the pack, and you'll fall behind the 8 ball, and you've got to come up with a whole new idea and concept and everything. So during this period of me like rolling along, I think I've got to make the most of it and just kind of deal with everything as it
you're
comes.
giving me heart palpitations, like the stress, because even with
Yeah,
this podcast, like I know, like how do I differentiate? How do I be? Because I
yeah,
know what the dream is just to have conversations like this and have these really,
yeah.
have joyful time, but also go deep and light and shade and all that kind of stuff. But how do you
Mm,
bank on that? How do you monetize that? How do you, it's a very, very fickle business and it's very, very difficult to keep going and keep churning
yeah.
out. And like hats off to you, but you sound like you have the most supportive network, and I'm going to be part of that network now. I'm going to be commenting on every single video and sending you
Thank you.
messages, and I'm going to
Thank
be
you.
like, so I think this is a really good idea. Like I think, oh my
Yeah.
God, I thought about this. No, 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 I'm just joking. But I do have one question that I do ask every
Yeah,
single
yeah, yeah.
guest before I'm really going to let you go because this has been amazing, but like, God, you
Yeah.
have to go live your life. My question is what is one phone call that changed your life? It doesn't have to be career related.
Well, gee, that is a really good question. Look, I don't think there was ever a phone call that really changed my life, in a sense, but I think nowadays the modern day phone call is like a video call, right? Like something that would happen on Google Meet. I think when I found my management, my current manager, Jackie, shout out.
Shout out Jackie, she's
Yeah,
the
I
best.
think that's really was that moment that changed my life, and that it was the moment that everything became serious and it was no longer, I guess, a hobby. And yeah, it was just one meeting with her, and yeah, basically explaining like, we see this in you, and we think you'd be a great fit with our management. And I think that was the moment that, yeah, my life, honest, like it did change. And also, going on like another topic, I wouldn't so much say it's a phone call, but I've seen a lot of, I guess, health battles around my family. And I think moments like that make you realize that, it sounds cliche, but we do really only get one life, and you have to make the most of it and do something you really, really enjoy. And that was really the moment where I said, well, I'm just going to take the leap of faith and do something that I enjoy doing. And if something comes from that, then that's a bonus. And I was, yeah, forever grateful that something did come of it. So I guess they're two little separate moments, not necessarily phone calls, but just moments
I
that really
love
changed my
that.
life.
I love that. The reason I ended up finally going into journalism, my sister had leukemia, and
Oh,
that changed the course of my life. I literally went, what am I doing? So I
mm.
totally get it. She's great now, by the way. She's
Oh, that's
run,
good.
she's
That's good to
run,
hear.
she's about to run her 7th marathon.
Oh,
So it's very like life changing.
mm.
Those moments, those moments, that one moment can change your trajectory of your life. And now look at you. Like you, no matter how
Yeah,
hard this is, no matter the pressure that you're under, it's obviously what you're meant to be doing because the engagement's there, the people are there. So even though
yeah,
you're not having the big numbers on your, on some of your videos, you know what it's like to feel that, and you should just be so proud of yourself. Like it's just such a
yeah,
joy to watch. Like I
yeah. Thank you.
honestly, it's
Yeah,
just like some more advice from me.
it's truly it's very humbling at times, and I think I I come back to I I do it for everyone else. I want to share that moment. I want to share that experience with everyone else, and
Yeah.
if I can just make one person's day, then like I've done my job. And I love getting those messages saying like I've had the shittest day at work and I've come home and pissed myself watching your video. Like that, I will go to bed and I'll go, wow, like that is just for me, those they're just life-changing moments.
That's
And
all you need is one person to say to
yeah,
you, you've
yeah,
you've done this. You've made me
yeah.
feel so good. And this has been the best. I am so glad that we got to talk, honestly.
Yeah, so am I. So am I.
It's just been
It's really
amazing.
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so
No,
much.
no, you're very welcome.
Guys, it's me again. Thank you so much for listening until the very end of this episode. So, what was my key takeaway from Josh? Well, it's that being the background character isn't always a disadvantage. It's also really important that if you're sitting on something, an idea, a pivot, a thing you keep talking yourself out of, I really, really hope that this gave you that little nudge. You don't have to be ready, but you absolutely have to do the thing. If you've just learned about Josh today from this very episode, go find him on socials. He's at Keeping It Josh on TikTok and at Josh Parto on Instagram. Follow him now and trust me on this one. You're going to absolutely love him. Don't forget, new episodes of the Anita podcast drops every Wednesday, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening. I have some killer guests coming up. Come find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at hi.itsanita on all three. Until next Wednesday, go be curious about someone. You have absolutely no idea what you might find.